Hi, this is Tisch Aitken, and it is Friday, August 25th, 2023. And we have a lot going on because we are in a heavy retrograde season, a time to reflect and review on what you want to create, what you want to organize and structure in your life, and what you want to evolve and improve. Now, the sun entered the mutable earth sign of Virgo on Wednesday, August 23rd, and it's going to transit in Virgo through September 22nd when we have the spring equinox, fall equinox. Well, the spring equinox in the southern hemisphere. So you will, and I'll have the fall equinox. So the sun is in Virgo. It's Virgo season, a time to get organized and declutter and focus on health and work and your goals and habits and routines. But Mercury, which is the planet of communication and information and transportation, Mercury retrograded on the very same day at 21 degrees and 4 minutes of Virgo, which is the sign it rules. In modern astrology, it also rules the sign of Gemini. So when you have Mercury retrograding in its dignity, it's a big deal. And it retrograded with an opposition to Neptune, which uncovers a lot of hidden information. And this is during a Venus retrograde period, which is also in and of itself a big deal. Mercury retrogrades 4 times a year. So we're going to deal with it realistically, fairly frequently for 3 weeks at a time. So that ends up being about a month, right? So with that said, more than a month, I'm losing it. So with that said, you deal with it a little bit, right? However, Venus only retrogrades once every year and a half, and that is a bigger deal because Venus is also a personal relationship. It's a personal planet which represents relationships. I will get it together. I will streamline this for us. But this is the retrograde energy, and it's okay if it's not perfect. I am imperfect. I'm learning that very much during this retrograde period, and we all are, and that's a beautiful thing. So, with this time, reevaluating what you want to do with your habits, how you're taking care of your mental health, because we are in the time of Saturn in Pisces. And to me, that is a huge deal. Saturn in Pisces is trying to anchor dreams in a very broken world. Saturn is structure, and Pisces is ruled by Neptune, which rules the sea. And it is very amorphous and it is shapeless and it is hard to contain. You cannot contain the ocean. And with that, think about the fact that dreams can be huge. And we have to remind ourselves, I have to remind myself, and you have to remind yourself that even though a lot of people are suffering, we're all suffering, I think, right now, that we want to help others. That's the higher use of Saturn in Pisces. And you do not want to give up on dreams. Neptune rules the imagination. And that's the part of the brain where you really manifest the most through your imagination, through the theta state, when you are relaxed, when you manifest and meditate and sing or chant, however you reach that place for you, that manifesting place, and make yourself receptive to that energy. And so we have Mercury retrograde. Venus is retrograde until September 3rd, when it stations direct at 12 degrees and 12 minutes of Leo. And it's going to remain in the sign of Leo through October 8th. So it's going to clear its shadow approximately October 6th, like about, early part of October, when it gets to 28 degrees of Leo, where it initially retrograded at the royal fixed star known as Regulus, the heart of the lion, the king maker, the queen maker, the rock star fixed star. And that was the retrograde that occurred on July 22nd. honoring that within all of us, that we all have that, we all have inner magic. And for people that you may be struggling and dealing with, because a lot of relationships could be challenged right now. Mercury is communication. When it retrogrades, it appears to move backwards. It doesn't literally move backwards, but this can be an excellent opportunity to reassess and rethink things. Maybe you return to a project, maybe you reevaluate how efficient you're being in what you're doing at present. But in communication, it can create challenges potentially. It also could be opportune for solving issues with somebody if you both are willing to dive in and face those issues. Venus retrograde could also be an excellent opportunity to do that. And, if this person or this relationship or this job or whatever it may be for you is worthy of it, trying to heal, trying to, search within yourself how you can create a lot of magic, because we experienced the really beautiful Venus star point on August 13th when Venus and the Sun met up, and Venus was nestled between the Earth and the Sun at 20 degrees of Leo. That was a cosmic kiss for all of us to, for passion, love, creativity, romance, children, and the inner child within all of us, and to really honor that and celebrate that. And now we have a lot of planets retrograde. Saturn retrograded on June 17th. That's the taskmaster of the zodiac. Venus is retrograde through the 3rd of September, but that's a personal planet. Mercury retrograded on August 23rd and will be retrograde through September 15th, when it stations direct at 8 degrees of Virgo. And this sets off where Saturn stationed retrograde on June 17th, because on June 17th, Saturn retrograded at the world point. Anything at 7 degrees of the mutable signs, Gemini, Virgo, Sagittarius, and Pisces, is at the world point. Big events occur with that. People on the world stage, there are big news usually around them, and each and every one of us feels it because we all make up the world stage too. We all comprise the world point. And now we're going to have Mercury setting that off, where again, it's in its dignity in Virgo, very analytical and good for problem solving and being practical in doing so, and being, wanting to work hard to get to the problems and to reach the solutions. Mercury is setting off where Saturn stationed, and Saturn will station direct on November 4th at 0 degrees of Pisces, which means that in a sense, all of us get an opportunity to retrace the Saturn in Pisces story that we have all experienced thus far, that began on March 7th of this year when Saturn entered Pisces. And it's going to transit there on and off through February 15th of 2023. So it's not an easy placement of Saturn. This is about broken dreams, but having dreams in a broken world and not giving up on them, and honoring that we are all broken and we will all heal. And I think that is a message I want to convey. Neptune is at the last degrees of Pisces, and it is, getting close to the final degree of the zodiac, which is 29 degrees of Pisces. Right now, it's circling around 27 degrees of Pisces. So it's getting to the last degrees. Those are the victims. Those are the people that cannot represent or speak for themselves, that cannot advocate for themselves. This is where we all want to come together in the collective to be of selfless service to others, to heal, to create art and magic, and remember it's possible. And right now, We are also approaching a Uranus station. Uranus, the planet of chaos and upheaval and brilliance, retrogrades on August 28th at 21 degrees and 4 minutes of the fixed Earth sign of Taurus. We feel that build up 5 days before and 5 days after. And Uranus is the higher octave of Mercury, the planet of awakening, and it uncovers well, more like it's an explosion of information. And so we've got that energy going on right as we also approach a blue moon. And that is the second full moon of the month, which occurs on August 30th at 9:36 p.m. Eastern Daylight Time at 7 degrees. I don't remember how many minutes, but 7 degrees of Pisces. And what does that speak back to? Saturn stationing on June 17th when it retrograded at 7 degrees of Pisces at the world point, hitting every one of us. This supermoon is at the world axis. The supermoon is going to set off where Mercury, the planet of information, opposes by it's in Virgo, so it'll be at 8 degrees of Virgo, setting off where Saturn stations, setting off where the super moon occurs on August 30th. We are going to be feeling a lot of feelings with this super moon in Pisces. With Uranus stationing right before, people are going to be acting really wacky. This is a time to be very creative if you're able to maybe you're going to something like a sound bath, or maybe you're floating. Maybe you're floating anyway, like me. Maybe you're going to the ocean. Maybe you're working with crystals. I recommend cleansing your crystals, burning Palo Santo or sage, writing down what you want to release. And, maybe you write it on a piece of paper, and you can light the piece of paper up carefully with a candle, but you want to be a little wary, but you can do that. And you can also just do rituals to cleanse. If you want to release somebody from your life in a positive way, you can freeze them out. That's a great technique. You can put their name on a piece of paper, wish them well and peace, and put it in your freezer, and you're not wishing them any ill will, but you're keeping yourself protected. And working with black tourmaline right now to ward off negative energy, having rose quartz to raise the loving energy you need to have, and amethyst, purple amethyst, is always very protective and always good for tapping into your intuition and dreams. It's good for people that are dealing with addiction issues. And also selenite helps to charge up and enhance those crystals, any of those crystals. It's also very protective and healing crystal. It's a beautiful crystal. My cat to my left, he was visible, I think, for a little bit, for a while. Billy is kind of, he's doing okay. I can't really tell. Each day seems like he's kind of hanging on for a while now. And I have something called a yoga being performed for him, where there is, I don't want to get too confusing, but it's a form of, it's when Hindu priests chant and pray for you or for an intention. And so I'm having that done for Billy right now, and he does seem to be responding. I'm doing a lot more than that. I'm feeding him special food and surrounding him with crystals and a lot of supplements, and he's rallying right now. I don't know how long that is. He'll let me know. And, and obviously his comfort is the biggest thing. But also really, last night, I've been up late a lot recently and, thinking about a lot of things. But I was able to really talk to him. And I know that sounds crazy for people that really aren't animal people. And I get it. Not everybody is a cat person. My mother was an animal rescuer. So it would not be uncommon to come home and I would hear this when I walk through the door. Don't tell your father there's a pigeon in his bathroom, which, come on, obviously he was going to find out pretty soon, but that was kind of funny. I would have that when I come home from school, and every time she'd win my father over, and no, we wouldn't keep the pigeons, but we kept almost everything else, dogs and cats and everything, and she collected me and my dad too. We were strays as well. So with that said, we're focusing on the wounded. And I don't even know why I brought up that story, but maybe there's a message in that. And I think it's about love, and it's about being selfless. And listen, this super moon is about releasing negativity, and it's about releasing fear, because Pisces can be very fear based, and it can also be about having deep imagination and deep dreams if you choose to have them. And this is a time you want to have them. And this is a time you want to speak for victims. And oh, I know why I mentioned that about my mom is because I was talking about somebody that's very important to me, my cat Billy. That's been part of my Venus retrograde story, that I may indeed lose him, in the relatively soon near future rather, having trouble coming up with words. Mercury is in its domicile, yet it is retrograde. And but with that, I think that knowing that I was speaking very deeply to him last night with crystals and everything, really telling him how much he's meant to me. I've had him for 17 years, for more than, well, now it's 17 years, September, so I've had him a long time. And so how much he has been a great friend to me, and really, thinking about the past, about times he used to drive me crazy when he was younger, because he was a very rambunctious cat. He cost me about, I think, over $200 the first 24 hours I had him. He ate my modem up. He was running around with a branch from a tree I had. And a lot of other things he did within a short period of time. But he made himself known, and he has been an electric spirit ever since. And so for all of you, I wish you all a lot of luck. Venus stations direct on September 3rd. Jupiter stations retrograde on September 4th at 15 degrees and 34 minutes of Taurus. That's another thing, is that's the world point as well. 15 degrees of the fixed signs: Taurus, Leo, Scorpio, and Aquarius. And this defaults back to the supermoon, that not supermoon, the total lunar eclipse on November 8th of last year. And so we're going to have the Jupiter energy of that retrograde. We'll start feeling that the very end of August. And we have the supermoon, we have Uranus retrograding. And so we're going to have 7 planets retrograde, with 2 of them being personal planets, Mercury and Venus. Search within, and I wish you a lot of luck, and thank you.